I turned 10 years old, my father surprised me with a pair of tickets to go see the Hartford Whalers. And that was our local team at the time. They were playing the Calgary Flames. It was March 20th, 1983. Game, I believe, ended in a 2-2 tie. I remember watching the game, and I said to my father, you know, oh, I'd really like to catch one of those pucks on the ice. And when we were up during intermission, somebody knew him, my father, one of the security guards that worked actually down on ice level, you know, where the players walk in and out. And I heard my father say to him, "Hey man, I need a puck." And so during the game, my father got up during you know, play, and he came back and just threw this frozen hockey puck in my lap, you know, and you know, it was awesome. I remember the feel of it. I remember putting it in my jacket and trying to dry it, you know, but it was a really special moment, and you know, I kept that puck all these years, and later had Ron Francis sign it. So I guess that was my first piece of hockey memorabilia right there that night, and it's kind of grown from there. I remember being in the car with my father, and he said to me, "Hey, do you like Wayne Gretzky?" And I said, "Who's Wayne Gretzky?" And he's like, "He's supposed to be this amazing hockey player." And I said, "Sure, you know." And he's like, "Well, I can get tickets to go see the Edmonton Oilers. They're supposed to be the best team, you know, ever." And so I said, "Yeah, great." So my father got tickets to see the Edmonton Oilers, and I began to follow, you know, this guy Wayne Gretzky and see what he was all about. And I just, as any kid would do, you know, you want to root for the winner. And the Edmonton Oilers had this flashy, amazing style of play with this colorful cast of characters. Every single person on the team seemed to be amazing, and I just fell in love with that team. 1989, Gretzky was on the Kings, and I walked down to where the players would walk out, and back then you could get really up close and you could pat the guy on the shoulder pads if you were daring enough, or you know, you could even say something to them. You could ask them for an autograph. I mean, nowadays you really can't get close to the players. There was a coach at the time, his name was Tom Webster, and I was begging this guy. I saw that there was Gretzky sticks lined up, and the next thing you know, Gretzky was walking out and handed me a stick, okay? And I'm like, "Wait, I gotta get you to sign it," but he was already back in the locker room. Later on in that season, the Kings came a second time. I went to follow the players after the game. They would stay at the hotel nearby, so you knew that after the game they'd be eating in a local restaurant or walking to a bar or something like that, and you could get an autograph. So I walked up to one restaurant, found Wayne Gretzky, had him sign a bunch of cards. Bernie Nichols walked in and said, "Hey Wayne, do you want to get something to eat?" And he said, "Sure." And they sat down in a booth. And I only lived 20 minutes away, and I said to my grandfather, I said, "Grandpa, we gotta go home and get the stick," okay? So my grandfather, I mean, he got us in the car and he flew. I mean, we flew back to the house. We got more cards. We got the stick. We got a Polaroid camera, as you see. You know, we have that Polaroid of me and Wayne Gretzky. We got back there. You know, I ran up to the restaurant. I was huffing and puffing, and Gretzky said, "Easy, guy, easy." He took the stick. He said, "I wonder if I've got some more goals left in this one." He signed it beautifully. He signed all of our cards. I asked him for a picture. He allowed me to jump in the booth with him. Bernie Nichols got up, let me in the booth, and I got my picture taken with Gretzky. He didn't have to do that. Most people wouldn't do that, but he did. With all of my pieces, it brings back childhood memories, good memories. I remember my very first memory of Messier was I saw him in a press box at a Hartford Whalers game. He was a scratch that night, and he was way up at the top, and he was watching the game with a very intense look. I walked up and I asked him for an autograph. He took my cards, he took the bill of my cap, and he pulled it down so he could keep watching the game, okay, and sign the cards. He was that focused, that intense, that he pulled my cap down, but that was the memory, that stuck with me. To New Yorkers, he's known as the Messiah. He came to New York City and he did what no one else could do. He ended the 54-year drought of the Stanley Cup. I mean, he took the pressure and he embraced it like no other, and he was a leader like none other. And there's just a certain, magnetic personality that he has, and an intensity that he had that just kind of drew you in as a fan. That was the ultimate New York Rangers jersey to get. I mean, he is the greatest New York Ranger of all time. There's no question about it. So when I started collecting jerseys, I thought, wow, wouldn't that be amazing to have a Mark Messier jersey, game worn. Little did I know it would cost more than, your average car, but I wanted it, and I was willing to do what I had to do to get one. Game 1 of the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals, I remember seeing him walk into Madison Square Garden. I was out in the lobby area, and he walked up. Nobody even noticed him. It was like maybe 1 in the afternoon, and just walked into Madison Square Garden. And I went, "Hey, there's Mess!" And everyone just started cheering, and he got this unbelievable look of happiness on his face, this excitement. And those memories, they don't go away. Yeah, I mean, you remember things like that. One year I was chosen to get a blue shirt off the back of a Rangers player. And, the Rangers player, it's not the end of the last game. They wear a jersey for one game, and they hand it to a fan. And I remember getting that jersey and saying to myself, man, I really wish this was Henrik Lundqvist, and I didn't realize that, hey, these things are available. You can buy these things, you can find them, and I got involved with the Facebook forums, and I had a bunch of baseball and hockey cards, signed baseballs and things like that. And I began selling off a lot of that stuff to buy the stuff that really mattered to me. And I kept saying, oh, geez, once I have a Messier jersey, that's it. I don't need anything else. I've got the Messiah. Well, that changed to trying to get other players from the 94 team, which changed to trying to get the Edmonton Oilers, that I grew up cheering for. And it's almost like you're trying to reassemble the team, or you're trying to reassemble a team, and like with hockey, you're never done. You're always trying to get, better players on your team. You're always trying to trade jerseys for things that you like more or mean more to you, not necessarily a better jersey, but something that just would mean more to you. I recently owned 3 Mark Messier jerseys, and I recently sold one of them off so that I could get the Grand Fuhrer. Now, Messier and Grand Fuhrer are very, very comparable in terms of they're both Hall of Famers, they're both legends. One is not better than the other. However, I had multiples of one thing, and I had the opportunity to get something that I didn't have, someone that I used to root for. I actually found that jersey on eBay, and it was just being sold as a Marcel Dion game-worn jersey. There was no provenance with it. There was no paperwork with it. and you know, there were not very good photos of the jersey up there. So I'd asked the seller for more photos of the jersey. He sent them to me, and I saw team repairs on it. I saw a lot of stick marks, and then I started searching the internet to see if I could find pictures that matched those stick marks, or a photo match as we call it in the hobby. And the first picture I pulled up was the picture of him and Phil Esposito that you see right there. And I sat down with my wife on the couch and I go, "That's the same jersey." "No," she said. I'm like, "Yeah, that's the same jersey." And then I called up one of my friends and I said, "Take a look at this." You know, someone I trusted, obviously, that wouldn't, you know, scoop it out from under me. And he and I both agreed, and I made a deal for the jersey, you know, at a fair price, and I sent it off to a company called My Gray, which authenticates jerseys based on photo matching them and other characteristics of the jersey. And we were able to video match the jersey to Marcel Dion, scoring his 718th goal. And, you know, I'm definitely pretty proud of that one. Valuations seem to constantly be going up. There is a demand. Collectors keep reflecting back, like I have done, on the players that they watched when they were younger, and there is definitely a demand for that vintage or older premium item. Something like a Connor McDavid jersey, which is a wonderful jersey that, you know, many people would love to have. Every single jersey that that man wears will most likely be sold unless he keeps it himself. So there's constant that flow of the jerseys entering, you know, the population. And, you know, if you have the money, you can get it. Whereas with the older stuff, you have to find it, you have to get someone who's willing to give it up, or you have to compete for it in an auction. And these auctions, these premium auctions, they last a month, where, you know, you'll sit there for that whole month and you'll be checking that auction every day, and you keep saying to yourself, "Oh, I think I can get this. I think I can get this." But then that night, the final night comes along and it quickly jumps out of your price range, and you have to say, "You know what? I can't really go any further on this." It can be fun. It can also be very aggressive because, you know, you have so little of the premium things out there. Like, for instance, the Edmonton Oilers, they might only have worn one jersey a year. So the competition to get, you know, something of that caliber is very intense. And collectors, while there's a camaraderie, when you know that someone has something and you want that particular piece, you might not want to tell, you know, some of your friends, your colleagues, where that piece is, knowing that, hey, they might try to get it as well. So it's kind of, it's almost a game of cat and mouse, so to speak, and you're always chasing the grail. You know, as soon as you get your hockey grail jersey, there's another one that you're going after. I mean, I just found that Grant Fuhr, and, you know, was able to get it, and I'm already thinking about the next one the next amazing jersey that I know of that I want to add to my collection. It's obviously Gretzky. His jerseys are the most in demand. They're extremely expensive. I mean, there's some of them that cost more than my house. I don't know that I'll ever, you know, have the means to own one, but I would love to. You know, that would be the ultimate. And I think you kind of keep working your way up to that. I'd like to own the core 4 of '94, as we call it. Messier, Adam Graves, who I have as well, Brian Leach, and Mike Richter. So I need a Leach and a Richter still. To have that memorabilia on the wall, every time I look at my 92-93 Messier jersey, I don't think about the money I spent on it. You know, I think about, wow, I have that on my wall. He wore that. This thing went through battles and wars. He scored goals in it. The trainer sewed up his arm on it. Just really cool. I mean, I think, you know, for a collector, there's nothing better than having a game-worn jersey. That's the pinnacle, I think.